Today we're going to be taking a look at 8 bass amp plugins. 5 of them are free, 2 of them are free-ish, and 1 of them isn't free at all, but it is a go-to that I do use quite a bit, so I figured let's throw it in the list. As a guitar player, I like to have a lot of different amps and sounds to pull from for my recordings, but when it comes to recording my bass parts, I actually really only need like 2 or 3 good options to give me that solid bass tone that I'm looking for when I'm recording my songs. And honestly, I can usually get that with a free bass amp plugin. So let's take a look at all 8 of these plugins, and I'm going to let you know which 3 are the ones that I use on every single song that I record. All right, so the first style of bass amp synth plugin we're going to take a look at is the SansAmp style. And the SansAmp is a pedal made by Tech21, but we also have plug-in versions. And the first one we're going to take a look at is the TSE Audio BOD or Bass Overdrive. And this is actually a pretty old plugin at this point. It's been used a lot on records, and it is based off of the version 1 of the SansAmp pedal. So you can see we have our level, we have our drive, we have EQ section here, and we have our blend knob. To the left is all pedal tones, all the way to the right is full-on DI, and of course anything in between. All right, so let's take a listen to some clean tones and some overdriven tones. Alright, so sounds pretty good, but like I said, that's an older plugin, and actually there's kind of a new kid on the block, and this one just came out a few months ago as of the filming of this video, and that is the S Drive by Modern Music Solutions. And if you take a look at this, you can see it actually looks quite a bit different. That's because it has some additional features, but also because it is based off of the version 2 of the SansAmp pedal. So some of these features are from the pedal and some are added to the plugin. So again, we have our level, we have our drive, we have an EQ section here, but you can see now we have a mid knob, which is on the version 2 pedal, and we have shift frequencies here. We can shift to 500 or 1K, and we can also on the bass shift from 40 Hertz to 80 Hertz, and again, that's on the pedal as well. We have our blend knob here. In this case, all the way to the right is pedal, all the way to the left is full on DI. And then we have this really interesting feature down here, which we're going to take a look at in just a moment. But let's listen to some clean tones and some overdriven tones. Alright, so as I said, this has a cool feature that's built into the plugin, and it is this DI frequency split. And the way this works is as I pull this up right here, the frequencies down here below this little button here will actually just be DI sound. It won't be affected by the pedal. And then the frequencies up here are going to be affected by the pedal. And this allows you to get a nice solid, like cleaner DI on the low end, but still retain some of that overdrive and stuff on the top end. So you can have a good solid foundation, but still blend in with your guitars. So let's take a quick listen to what this sounds like. All right, so very cool feature, and I really like the way this S drive sounds. I think it's an improvement over the older BOD, and this is one of those free plugins that I actually use quite a bit on my recordings. I actually just used this on a mix that I was working on this week, and yeah, I think it sounds great, and it's free. All right, so the next style of amp sim we're going to take a look at is what I'm going to call the amp suite. And basically, they can have multiple amps. You can have pedals and speakers and microphones and all kinds of tone tweaking options, right? So the first one we're going to take a look at is the Bass Locker by Assault Audio. And you get this free amp that comes with it. It's the Bass TR. They say it's a custom amp. I don't know if it's based off any particular amp. If you recognize it, let me know in the comments down below. But as you can see, we can have pedals in front. We have our amp. We can go different speaker cabinets. We can choose different rooms it's in, different microphones. We can add different EQs and plugins and compressors and stuff at the end. And we're not going to go into all of those in this video. But this is what we have here. I've turned a lot of that stuff off so we can just hear the amp itself. And I did tweak the tone and stuff a little bit. And so let's check out the clean sounds and some overdrive sounds. All right, so there we go. There's the Audio Assault Bass Locker. Now that amp in particular isn't my favorite. I had a hard time getting a tone that I was happy with personally. You can buy other amps for a very reasonable price, and maybe those would be more to my liking. But let's go ahead and take a look at the next one, and that is Amplitude by IK Multimedia. And this is the free version, Amplitude CS. And when you download this, you get multiple guitar amps, cabinets, microphones, and stuff like that. But you also get this bass amp here as well. And you can do pedals and all these other things just like you could before. You have this whole signal chain down here. It comes with this 1x15 cabinet with different microphones you can add to it and all that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and check out the cleans and overdrive tones of this one. All right, so personally, I like that bass amp a lot better than the Audio Assault one. However, I really don't use Amplitude that much anymore. I used to use it a lot. In fact, I bought the orange package, and it comes with the orange 8200 bass amp, and I used that a lot for a long time. But then I since discovered another bass amp sim that I like even better, and we're going to take a look at that at plugin number 7. Hey there, wanted to jump in here real quick. My name is Greg, and on this channel, I help just regular people, non-rock star folk like you and me, write and record songs in our home studios that sound like they belong on a playlist with our favorite artist. And we do all of that without any super expensive fancy gear or over-the-top studio stuff, right? Just regular gear you probably already have. So if that sounds good to you, please consider hitting that subscribe button to get more helpful content like this. And while you're down there, check out the description box. I have a link to my free guide, 7 home studio recording secrets to pro sounding songs. You follow that guide, follow those steps, and you're going to instantly improve the sound and quality of your recordings and your songs. So check that out in the description down below. And yeah, back to the bass amp plugins. All right, so the next one in our list is a little bit different than all the others. And actually, this one is also made by IK Multimedia, just like Amplitude does. And this one's called Tonex. And the reason that this one's a little bit different is that Tonex is really trying to just capture the amp and how it sounded with specific settings in that instance with the cabinet and the microphone. It's not trying to replicate all the components and the EQ knobs and the circuitry and all that kind of stuff, kind of like what Amplitude is doing. This is how it sounded when it was captured. And then you can download a bunch of different captures or instances of how that amp sounded at different settings. That makes sense. So first up, we have the fridge right here, which is, it tells you is based on an Ampeg SVT CL. And then our overdrive sound is going to be the SansAmp RBI. And so let's go ahead and take a listen to these. Alright, so there we go. As far as Tonex versus Amplitude, I really like how simple Tonex is to use. Amplitude, all those features and tweaking and all that stuff, isn't really my thing. I like something simple, quick, easy that gets me great tones. However, the tones in Tonex, these two captures, I don't particularly like all that much. The fridge, I think we've already heard some better bass tones already. And then as far as that SansAmp, the S drive we looked at before, I think sounds way better. That doesn't mean you can't find other captures, users upload captures that you can get for free, and there may be something better there. Or you could always buy or purchase from other companies. I don't use Tonex other than for one capture that I bought for guitar. Outside of that, I use other plugins. So the next plugin we're going to talk about is the first one that is kind of free-ish, right? So what do I mean by free-ish? Basically, it's free for some people, and in this case, it's not available for other people. So the plugin we're talking about is the Bass Amp Sim within GarageBand. So if you're on a Mac like I am, you get GarageBand for free. This comes with it. This is easy for me to forget sometimes because I don't really use GarageBand, but there's definitely some decent tones to be had there. Now, if you're on Windows, you kind of can't really use GarageBand. You're kind of out of luck on this one. However, there's still plenty of other options. So let's check out the Bass Amp Sim inside of GarageBand. So this next amp we're going to take a look at is my go-to for almost everything. This is by far the one I use the most. When we're looking at Amplitude, I said I used to use the orange until I found this one. This is the one. This is the Ampeg SVT Classic by Brainworks through Plugin Alliance. And this one is one of those that is free-ish, okay? So it's free-ish because when I created a Plugin Alliance account, I got this one for free. I checked the other day. If you create an account now, this doesn't come with it, but you get some other plugins that are also really good and worth checking out. Also, if you get a Universal Audio Volt interface, part of the plugin package you get with it includes this bass amp for free. So I actually did a review of this fantastic budget-friendly audio interface under $200. Link in the description down below. So if you have one of these or you get one of these, you will have a license for this bass amp plugin. But if you're not able to get this for free, don't worry because this goes on sale a lot through Plugin Alliance and it's usually pretty reasonably priced. So if you like this one, it's probably worth picking up anyways. They actually have a bigger brother version with more options that often actually is the same price. All right, so once again, let's take a look at some clean tones and some overdrive tones. So again, I really like this one. This one, when I'm playing and dropping it into recording, I find that the clarity, the mid-range, the low end, and all that kind of stuff really just kind of works with everything, especially with my P bass back there, right? It kind of just sits in and works and sounds great in all contexts. So again, this is my go-to. All right, last and certainly not least is our final amp sim plugin. And again, this is the one that is not free. However, if you find it on sale, I definitely think it's worth picking up, and it is on sale quite often. And this is the Bass Knob by Bogren Digital. And this is kind of doing a little bit of a different thing than what we've seen up to this point. So this plugin is made by Jens Bogren. If you don't know, he's an engineer and producer of some pretty heavy music and stuff that I don't typically listen to very much and definitely can't and don't play. But this is great for hard rock, pop punk, just good old rock. And it's actually surprisingly got some good cleans as well. So if we take a look at the plugin here, we can see on the interface, we just have a clean and a dirt channel. And then we have this big knob. And instead of replicating an amp with a EQ knobs and the gain knob and all those things going on there, this is more replicating his recording chain, how he would record bass. So we have the amp, which I'm going to guess is an Ampeg SVT, judging by the badge on the front of this amp. It's going to have the cabinet, it's going to have the microphone or microphones, it's going to have maybe one or more preamp channels going on it, it's going to have some compression and EQ, it's got some overdrive, and all those things mixed into one. And as we look at the knob here, if we turn it up, we get more of that stuff, and as we turn it down, we get less, and it cleans up. Kind of the cool thing is the clean channel. If you crank that up, you're going to get some dirt and overdrive going on with that, and on that dirt channel, as you bring it way back down, it's actually going to clean up really well. Very interesting. So we're going to check out those extremes as again we listen to our clean channel and our overdrive. All right, so as you can see, lots of great features, lots of great tones we can get out of a lot of these bass amp sims, whether they're free or paid. But the bass amp sims are really kind of just the start. There's a lot that goes into recording great bass parts for our songs. And if you watch this video right here, I'm going to walk you through step by step of how I get high quality bass recordings for my songs. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in this video.